Here we go. Thank you everybody for being here. Welcome to the 11 o'clock Friday class. This is considered intermediate advanced. So I am going to push you a little bit, probably not as hard as I would on the Monday and Tuesday classes, but remember, everything that I add to a song is 100% optional. You can play the song exactly as it's written and be successful. If you hear something that I do today that you like, make sure you write it down. Make sure you copy it in so that you can try it. Because that's how we explore things musically, is to just try things. And listen to other people do them. Go to YouTube. Listen to a couple of people do this. Today's song is Swingin' on a Star. It is on page 260 of book 134, which is the AFI's 100 years, 100 songs. This was introduced, as Ken already told us, it's introduced by Bing Crosby in the 1944 film Goin' My Way, and it won the Academy Award for the Best Original Song. Okay, I'm still admitting people, so be patient. It was song number 37 in AFIA's 100 years, 100 songs. The songwriter, Jimmy Van Heusen, was at Bing Crosby's house one evening for dinner, and they were actually discussing a song for the film. And during the meal, one of the kids started complaining about how he did not want to go to school the next day. Very typical kid, right? And Bing turned to his son Gary and said, "If you don't go to school, you might grow up to be a mule." So that's where the song came about. Going My Way is about a priest and some juvenile delinquents, some guys who, this was also followed by the sequel, Bells of St. Mary's. So if they seem similar, it's because one's a sequel to the other. Now, what were some other songs in Going My Way, songs that you might remember? How about the song Going My Way? That was one of them. And also, one that I never would have thought of, but it's in there, Tooralura Lura, the lullaby, the Irish lullaby. So that's also in Going My Way. All right, but Swingin' on a Star is just a really cute song, and like I did say, my remembrance of this is I was a kid, and it must have been Captain Kangaroo, and they had a little teddy bear sitting on a star, and they had it swinging. That's what I remember of Swingin' on a Star. So funny things what your mind brings back. I'm going to play it, and there are a couple of different things we can put it on. Song setup for most of your instruments does put it on Swing and Sway at 132 with the alter style. Now, I have it at 122. I think that 132 is just a little bit too fast, so I adjusted it. What's the difference between alter style and regular? Let's listen. Here is what Swing and Sway sounds like by itself. Here's the background. Okay, when I touch alter style, this is what it does. It just tweaks it just a little bit. So you can try it both ways and see which one you like. Now, if you don't have alter style, don't worry about it. Or if you don't have alter style and you are worrying about it, see me after the class and I'll be sure I can fix you up with something that has a nice alter style. All right. By the way, I am playing on the beautiful Rialto. And if anybody has any questions, do not hesitate to stop me and ask a question. All right, here we go, Swing and Sway, and it's on the alter style at 122, and I transposed it up to the key of E. Now, I want you to sit and think, why did she transpose it up to E? No fair if you were in my Monday or Tuesday class, because we already talked about this in a different class. Here we go. roadmap is very simple. You just go back and pick up verse 2, same ending. You pick up verse 3 and go to the last ending. Okay, why do you think I transposed it to E? Why do you think I did that? Any thoughts? Okay, the answer is, and those of you who are in class Monday or Tuesday, you already know the answer to this. If I would have left it in the original key, let's put it back down, there is a harmony on it. And what harmony does is it adds the notes all under here. And I'm going to play the first line. It's probably going to sound very muddy. See how it starts to sound really muddy down here? Okay. Normally what you would do is say, okay, I'll just go up an octave. Oops, that starts to sound a little screechy. So when that happens, you need to just transpose somewhere in the middle. E, F, F sharp, G. Try a couple of those that are right in the middle of the scale and see if that doesn't fix the problem. All right, so that's just one use for using your transpose. Always let your ear be the final judge for, do I need to transpose this or not? And that's really all it is whatever background I'm using and whatever sounds I'm using aren't working for this particular song in this range. So change the range. That's your prerogative to do that with a transpose and just experiment. And E turned out pretty good, so I just put transpose to E. Just write it in so you know how to set it up. Okay, very good. Did I add some extra chords? I did. But because the song goes so fast, that's really not adding that much to the song. I will give them to you because I know there are inquiring minds out there that do want to have the extra chords. The first page, guess what? No changes. You're good on page 1. Yeah. Let's go to page 2. Top line. You have an N-C in the first measure. That's a no chord. Remember, the no chord is just any 3 keys in a row, and it has to be 2 whites and a black or 2 blacks and a white to stop the chord. That's so that that G sharp does not clash with that F chord. When you have an F chord, a G sharp is going to give it a little bit of a clash. So it does help to just play that as a no chord. If you don't mind it as F, that's okay. Now here's the chord that they recommend putting in. A7 flat the 5th. That's a weird chord. It's a weird chord. The notes in that chord are A, C sharp, E flat, that's the flat 5, and G. So I'm still playing a G, but here's the difference in the sounding of the chord. Here's the chord. It's a lead-in chord for that A minor 7. And the A minor, by the way, you can put a 7 on it. So if you like that A7 flat 5th, it's a cool sounding chord. If you play it in a different inversion, it's going to show up in your window as an E flat 7 flat the 5th. And that's okay. It's the same chord, just a different bass note. And if you played it with the A on top, it's actually easier to play. Try it. See what you think. If you don't like it, do the no chord. Take it out. It is a tough chord because the song does go fairly quickly. Second measure on the top line, I already said it. You may put a 7 on the A minor, which would be C, G, and A. And at the end of line 1, you may play the G7 for the whole measure, or you're going to play 3 chords for each of the first 3 beats. And those 3 chords would be D, dinosaur, for beat 1, G augmented for beat 2, and G7 for beat 3. And I'm going to turn this off and just put the easy on. And that's going to sound like this. D, and it's just a 1, 2, 3. G augmented, by the way, is G, B, as in butterfly, and D sharp, dinosaur sharp. And you can put that on the bottom. It's going to read in your window E flat augmented. That's okay. And if you don't feel like playing that because it's going fast, G7 is absolutely fine on this. All right, line 2. You may put a 7 on that very first G minor, which would be F, G, and B flat. Second measure, the F is fine, but it was recommended to play 4 chords in that measure. Beat 1, beat 2, beat 3, beat 4. Here's your 4 chords if you wish to do it. Plain old F, fish, for beat 1. B flat minor for beat 2. That's butterfly flat minor. Your 2 notes are D flat and B flat. Dinosaur flat and butterfly flat. Beat 3, go back to plain old F, fish. And the last chord is an A7 flat the 5th again. Oh boy, it's the same one we had at the top. Or just play A7, doesn't matter. Or just play plain old F for the whole measure. Keep it easy, because the song does move. Yes, go ahead.
Dawn, what was A7 flat the 5th?
A7 flat the 5th is A, C sharp, E flat, and G. And you can put the A on the top and play C sharp, E flat, G, and A. And it's going to show up in your window as a different chord, but it is the same chord.
Okay.
It's going to show up as an E flat 7 flat 5.
How about putting the G on the bottom? G, A.
Yeah, if you put the G on the bottom, it'll show up fine.
Yeah.
Yep, you can do that. And then play it up here. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, that's the way I play it.
Yep, that works too. Yep. Okay. Second line, last measure. You may put a 7 on the A minor. That would be C, G, and A. Third line, first measure. You may play G7 for the whole measure, or you can play 3 chords for the first 3 beats. Beat 1, beat 2, beat 3. The first chord is the G7. Beat 2 is G augmented, G, B, and D sharp. The third beat is back to G7. Let's try this. And then the G minor in the second measure, you may put a 7 on it. And that's it for changes. So the ones that are in there are pretty much on the beats. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. So they're harder to play. But if you like how they sound, try them. Try them. If you don't like them, throw them away. That's okay. That's okay. Just a fun song to play. All right, now what else did I use for rhythms on this? And we will go into fingering, no worries. And the road map, are there any questions on the road map? It's pretty cut and dried. It's verse 1, first ending. Verse 2, second ending, which is the same as the first ending, but if you notice the lyrics, you actually have both sets of lyrics in the first and second ending. The dots take you all the way back to the dots at the beginning. The third time, you're just going to jump down to the last ending.
Dawn, I have a question at the top of the second page. Was that A7 flat the 5th instead of the no chord or instead of the F?
Instead of the no chord.
Okay, thank you.
Good question. Yep, instead of the no chord. All right. Other rhythms for this. Basic shuffle. McSwing, those of you who have McSwing and wanted to know what other songs to play, this is perfect because McSwing gives you that bounce, and that's what you're looking for in this song. I also put it on Like Spike, and this is another one of those that, wow, if you ever wanted to know what else you could play on Like Spike, this is a cute song to put on Like Spike. If you don't have Like Spike, see me after class. It's a fabulous background. I will play it on that, by the way. I also want to talk a little bit about, let's continue and see what else did I have. Mr. Showman is good because of the bounce. Oregon Blues is good because of the bounce. East Coast Swing Jive with the altar style is very good because of the bounce. Those of you with the smaller instruments, the Freedom 3 Swing Time, which is your standard. Swing Time or Gypsy Rag under your standards is perfect. And if you have any of the easies, your shuffle is good, which is in the mix. Or if you're in standard and you've got one of the real small ones, standard pianist works just fine. Just doctor it up a little bit, and don't forget to put in your drums, put some strings in the bottom, and put some bouncy horns in the top. Okay. Let me, just for fun, let me do Like Spike. Like Spike is fun. And we're going to put on an introduction. I'm at 120. Did you like it? Did it make you smile? Yeah. Yeah. Something totally off the wall fun. And if you ever
What is it called?
It's called Like Spike. Spike Jones. It's a Spike Jones background. And it has all of these fun things. I'm not going to touch anything, and you can hear some fun stuff. Come on. That's in there without me doing anything. Now, if I push that's just fun stuff just comes up randomly. But you can also use your touch bar. There's a lot of stuff in there that's just random, and it's just going to make you smile. And this is just one of those songs that, and if you check the lyrics out, it kind of goes along with this too. So, would you like to swing on a star, carry moonbeams home in a jar, be better off than you are, or would you rather be a fish?
What's that rhythm name? What's that
Pardon?
rhythm? What's that rhythm name?
It's called Like Spike, Like dash Spike. Like Spike. And you all pretty much have it on the larger instruments. I believe the Journey is the first one that has it. On the E line, I'm trying to remember what the first one is. I can't remember on the A line. I can't remember. But just fun stuff. Okay. Oops, okay. Gene McDonald would love Like Spike. Yes. Yes. Our Gene McDonald is the #1 person for putting in as many silly sounds as he can. Yep, absolutely he would. And it's a great one for us to use as well. Now, the other thing I want you to notice is how I'm playing it. I am not playing it exactly as written. You know I'm the #1 person that's going to tell you don't play it exactly as written. Don't try to count it. Because you've got a lot of eighth notes. Eighth notes. If you play them the way they are written, it's not going to sound. It's going to sound very stilted and very stiff. This is a song you got to swing the eighth notes. And the best word I can use is bounce. bounce on the eighth notes. Long, short, long, short, long, short, long. And just bounce on them, and it's going to make the whole thing feel the right way. If I play it, oh, let's try McSwing. I'm going to try to play it wrong. Okay, here's McSwing. I'm going to do my best to try to play the eighth notes as evenly as they're written. It's hard because my background is telling me to bounce on the notes. So absolutely, the right background is also going to help dictate that. And you want to bounce on them. Just keep it light. And that's just a technique of playing. Let the rhythm dictate that to you, and you just are like singing along with the radio. Do not fight with the rhythm. Do not fight with the rhythm. This is easy play. The notes are there for a guide. They are not there for you to follow exactly every eighth note. You have to play it the way it feels. Play it the way you would sing it. Okay, let's do some fingering. How are we doing on time? Oh, we're way ahead of this. Way ahead of schedule. All right, D3, C2, D3, C2, F5, D3, B flat 2, G1, C2, D3, C2, F5. The last note in that line is a D3. Second line, C2, D3, C2, F5, D3, B flat 2, G1, C3, C3, B2, D4, G1, 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 G1. Third line, C3, E5, G1, G1, D3, F5, G1, 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 E3, G5, G5, F4, E3, D2. Fourth line, C1. All right, now this part here, you may not like what I did. I put a little arrow on the D and made it a 3. Why the arrow? Because that's just going to tell you that's not conventional fingering. Normally your 2 finger wants to go on it, and then your 1 would want to go on the C. I changed it to a D3, C2. Why? Because I want my 5 to go on that higher F. So the D and the C can really be whichever fingers get you to the 5 on the F the easiest. F5, D3, B flat 2, G1, C3. Check mark. The check mark is just a visual that you are going to lift your hand and reposition it. G3, A4, G3, B flat 5, G3, E2, C1. Top of the next page, F3. After that held F, do a check mark. G sharp 3, A4, G sharp 3, A4. D1, D1, A4, A flat 3. Now remember, G sharp and A flat are the same note. So why did they not make it a G sharp in this case? They're always going to print it the way they feel it's the easiest for us to read in the phrase. So A goes to an A flat 3 to a G2. Check mark. G4, F sharp 3. Second line, G4, C1, C1, G4, G flat 3, F2. A4, G sharp 3. So you got to watch that. You got to watch your sharps and flats in here. A4, D1, D1, A4, A flat 3. Third line, G2, check mark. You're taking a breath with your hand. Just lifting it up and putting it back down in a different position. G3, A4, G3, B flat 5, G3, E2, C1, F3, first and second ending. And after that held F, check mark. D3. And then you're going to go back to the beginning. Let's do the third ending. The third ending, I actually crossed out the low A. Now, if you want to play it, it's going to be a 2 with a circle, and you're going to cross over. I actually put that A up an octave. Now, what that does is it puts it up higher. You're on a C with a 1. You're going to go up to the A, which is the first line above the staff. Make it a 4. I think it sounds better. I also think it's going to be easier to finish the song. G3, A4, G3, B flat 5, G3, E2, C1, F3. Okay, so what did that actually look like? That's what I did. I put the A all the way up and made it a 4. If you want to play the A at the bottom, make it a 2 with a circle. I just found it very hard to play, and I didn't think it sounded as well. And again, you use your ears as the final judge. If it doesn't sound right, figure out what will sound right, write it in. We are creatures of vision before we actually are creatures of hearing it, believe it or not. All right, let's see what I can do this on. Let's do the mixed swing. And I'm going to play the whole song. So I'm going to go back and forth between the up and down. I'm also going to use my pedal magic, and I am going to put the fill on the pedals. So when I'm playing, all I have to do is step on a long pedal, and it's going to make it a lot easier. Instead of having to do this, I could also put my thumb down on the touch bar. Either way works very well. Okay, mixed swing. Let's do some category setups just for fun. I am going to go to a nostalgic category. Make sure it's on. And I'm going to see some cool stuff in here. Let's do the Lombardo saxes for number 9. Verse 2. One more verse, so you can go to something else completely different. Let's go to nostalgia number 5. could have gone to the rhythm presets. I decided I'd check out the category presets instead. So you've got lots and lots of things to use. Something else that I used, and oh, we got plenty of time to talk about it. I actually used the Fake It. Now, I haven't used it yet, but we could use Fake It in this. And how many of you are kind of scared to use your Fake It? Kind of scared. Now, if you've got the one where you only have to hold a finger down, that does make it easier. But sometimes when you have a song like this that changes chords, did you ever find that when you push Fake It and try to play a chord and a note at the same time, it kind of jumps from note to note and it doesn't really sound smooth? Well, I figured out that a way to use Fake It is to not change the chord and the note at the same time. If you're doing this, make sure you stop when you play a chord. So just do a few notes, play the chord, because what's going to happen? When you change the chord, it'll usually change the note for you. So for those of you with the smaller instruments that have a Fake It, when you can't just automatically hold down a black key and let it go, you know, what are you going to do? And right now I'm on basic shuffle. Okay, let's put on the Fake It. If I just hold down a note on an instrument like this, that works pretty well. But what if you're on a smaller instrument and you've got Fake It and you have to do your own noodling? Okay? If you try to play the notes and the chords at the same time, sometimes what happens is it gets real disjointed. And it doesn't sound quite right. So what I like to do is I'll do a couple notes, play the chord, and when I change the chord, hear how the note changed? Hear how the note changes on the Fake It when I change the chord? So if you noodle a couple notes, then change the chord, and just go back and forth with it, I think you'll find it works better. Make a little bit of sense? Try to change the chord while you're holding a note. Don't try to change a doodle note at the same time you're changing a chord, because you might get a little jerk and then you're going to say, wow, this isn't working for me. Try doing a couple notes, change your chord, couple notes, change the chord. As you change the chord, that note is going to change and it's going to start to sound really smooth. Why do I want you to do that? Because I want you to use everything that's on your instrument. So why would I use a Fake It? It's not to replace the melody. A Fake It is to add to the melody. Those of you that go out to the square and you dance and they play a song, and then what happens is in the middle someplace, either the saxophone player or the keyboard player or the guitar player steps out to the front and just does some jamming, and they're just railing away. Well, guess what? They either have a lovely ear that can do that. I do not have that gift of improvisation. I had to write all my own solos. Or they practiced a lot of scales and riffs and things like that so that they could do it on the spot. You know, improvising is not the easiest thing in the world to do because you have to match what's going on with your chords. So the Fake It button allows us to do that without us having to go to school and learn all that stuff. And it just adds a touch of reality to your song. So you could play verse 1 with the melody, and then verse 2, you could actually just play the whole verse 2 or half of verse 2 with the Fake It on, and then finish the song. Yes, you have to still play the chords. You have to still play the chords as you're going along. Kind of try to sing the song in your head, and that'll help. Did you ever wonder how when you're out and you're out at the dance and the saxophone player is playing the solo, and then all of a sudden everybody starts playing exactly the same time again? You ever wonder how they did that? They were either counting measures or, more than likely, they were just singing the song in their head. And when they got to one certain spot, like the chorus or the bridge, or they started the verse over again, everybody knew to come in. And that's what's happening. They're not just willy-nilly flying off by the seat of their pants and playing whatever they want. They're actually playing the chords to the song. And then when you get to a certain spot, everybody just comes right back in. So I'm demystifying music for you a little bit. And the Fake It button just allows you to do that extra stuff without having to learn a whole lot about it. You just have to try to make it sound good. Any questions about what we did today?
Yeah. Dawn, would you go over that A7 flat the fifth?
Yeah. Yep, that's a
What
cool chord. A7 flat the
notes?
fifth. Your notes are from the bottom to the top. A, alligator. C sharp, chicken sharp. E flat, elephant flat. That's actually your flat the fifth. And then the seventh of the chord is the G gorilla. Now you can play it in any order. You can put those notes in any order. Just make sure that when you're reading the window, it's either going to read A7 flat 5 or E flat 7 flat 5, depending on which one goes on the top.
Okay, and can you give me the first, on page 1, the first 2 measure fingering again? I was listening to Like Spike.
Oh, okay. Page 1, D3, C2, D3, C2. F5, D3, B flat 2, G1.
Okay,
Got it?
yeah.
Yeah, try
Sorry.
your Like Spikes. You will
I
love
finally
it.
found it. It was so interesting.
There's a lot of stuff going on with it, and a lot of times we don't know what to play on Like Spikes.
I know, there's so much stuff, too much.
So this is a great song to try
Dawn.
that background. Yes.
On the top of page 261, you were talking about the F chord not going with the G sharp. What did you put in place of the F chord, or did you
No,
put
the F
anything?
chord. No, the F chord, it stands on its own. Ends the phrase. That ends the phrase. But why did they put the no chord in there? Because if they would have continued with the F chord, it would have clashed with the G sharp. Now, it's okay to actually do that because that's just called a passing tone, and it resolves with the A. So if your ears aren't bleeding because of that, you know what? Don't let it bother you. That's actually jazz, is that they intentionally will clash the notes and then resolve with the next notes that goes into it.
Thank you.
You're welcome. No, the F ends the phrase. You have to play the F. Then you can either play a no chord or an A7 flat the fifth. Or if you don't mind the F carrying through, then go ahead and play the F as well. But again, use your ear to determine which one is going to work the best for you. Did you learn one thing today? If you learned one thing today, you are 100% successful. This is just a fun song to play. Don't forget, bounce on the notes. That is the best advice I can give you. All right, next week we will do Thanks for the Memory from the big broadcast of 1938. Okay. If you have any questions, please feel free to email me 5028@fletchermusic.com. Let me know what's on your mind. Give me some suggestions. Ask me any questions you need. We're here for you. You know that. Otherwise, if you've got the invitation for the Liberty Showcase this afternoon at 1 o'clock, please join us for that. If you do not have that, David, I'm going to go right now and I'm going to go put you on it. Okay? All right. You guys
Dawn?
are-
Thank you.
Yeah.
Dawn, the classes for this week or, Monday and Tuesday's classes, are they on YouTube yet or will they not be?
No, it's going to be a week to 10 days. He's got
Okay.
everything. He's putting everything on a different schedule. They
What about-
will show up on YouTube. I'm just not sure when. Hopefully, they will show up next week on YouTube. My classes from this past week. So he's just got
Okay.
everything back a week. He's trying to
And
get
l-
everybody to come to as many live classes as possible.
What about last week's classes? Would they be on now by now? I don't know.
Don't know.
Okay.
I honestly, I do not know. I am not in charge of that. I don't have any control of that scheduling. I forward everything to Robert, and he's the one that's in charge of putting
Putting it
those
on.
to YouTube.
Okay,
Okay?
I'll just keep looking.
Yep, keep looking. If it says private video, it means it hasn't been posted yet. It has not scheduled to be on yet. So just be patient. It will eventually come back on.
Okay, thanks.
You're welcome. You're
Don,
welcome.
that
Yeah.
session with Joni Monero
Yeah.
is at 1 o'clock.
Yes, it's at 1 o'clock.
Yeah,
Yes.
not 2.
No, it's at 1. That's what
Okay.
I said.
Oh, I thought somebody said 2 o'clock.
Well, 2 o'clock is normally the Zoom musical, but today it's going to be a 1 o'clock
Yeah.
showcase demonstration.
Yeah.
And
So
that
he
will
sent out
also be-
emails. He sent out emails for
Yeah,
that.
she did, but she didn't send out for every. And again, that's not Joni doing that. That's Robert doing that.
Will that
Oh.
also be on YouTube
Well,
eventually?
it says Joni on the email.
It's not Joni. It's Robert.
Okay.
Robert is the one in control. I know people always say you didn't do that. No, it's Robert's account. He actually spends a lot of time doing all of this spectacular Zoom stuff. So you have to give him a lot of credit. He spends a lot of time scheduling and a lot of times posting things and
Oh.
yeah, that's all him doing that. We would not be doing Zoom if it weren't for his hard work.
That's true.
Mhm.
Will Joni's also be on YouTube in a week and a half?
Not sure. See, right now I have no control over that. I can't tell you if it will or it won't. You just have to look for it later. It may and it may not be.
Okay,
Okay?
thank you.
Great class as always, Dawn.
Thank you so much, Joe. Don't
Absolutely.
forget, Joe, your book is here. Joanne, your book is here. And anybody who would still like to order a Christmas book or any other book from Hal Leonard, please let me know before the end of the day tomorrow so that I can get the books ordered. Okay?
Thanks, Don.
You guys
Thanks,
are the
Don.
best.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you, Don. Great class.
Have a
Thank
great
you.
weekend.
Thanks, Dawn.
Bye, everybody.
Bye,
Thank you for
everybody.
everything.
Love you
Bye.
guys.
See you later. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.